In fact, let's make it 3. Because there's one action which is indirectly connected. But two are main actions which are connected. Rushdan, Quran, Muhammad. Well, then dua was the third one. Zayn, Salat, no. So we've got, fasting. So, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ وَفَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنُ. And then in Surah Al-Baqarah, in juz number 2, there's a passage, about 1.5 sides, that are dedicated regarding the rulings of Ramadan, the rulings of fasting. And in between them, there's a verse which is regarding dua. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. So some of the scholars said, why is this verse out of place? You've got a passage of verses regarding the rulings of fasting, and the virtues of Ramadan. And then in between those, you've got like a verse which doesn't really connect to the verses before and the verses after. So why is this verse here? And the Mufassirun came to the conclusion that whilst you are studying the fiqh of Ramadan, the rulings of Ramadan, here there is a reminder that whilst you are studying the rules, don't forget that this is also a month of dua as well. Because of the hadith, إِذَا جَاءَ رَمَضَانَ فُتِّحَتْ أَبَابُ الْجَنَّةِ وَغُلِقَتْ أَبَابُ النَّارِ وَصُفَّتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ. This is a month in which the doors of Jannah are open. And the du'as that you make, they are accepted. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. So when you call upon your Lord in dua, when you humble yourself and you raise your hands before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you make dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens to your dua. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants you what you ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If not, He delays it for a reason, or He will give you something far greater. He will give you something far greater. Do you understand? So, these are the 3 actions in Ramadan. One is the Quran, second is fasting, and the third one is dua. And then there's other actions that you can do, which is somebody mentioned Salah. Of course, Salah is mandatory. Inside or outside of the month of Ramadan, Salah is mandatory. You need to pray. Even if you are traveling, you need to pray. Here, yesterday, what did we cover? If you are traveling, you don't need to fast. If you're traveling, you need to pray. However, you can shorten the prayers. Because يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants ease for you, not hardship. So when you are a musafir, and this is on the side note for your benefit as well, when you are traveling, you pray the 4 rak'ah salahs, you pray half. So Dhuhr, Asr and Isha, you pray 2 rak'ahs. Maghrib remains 3, Fajr remains 2. If you can pray Sunnah, you'll pray, otherwise you don't need to. Once you are traveling. And then there's also a ruling where you can combine prayers as well. According to some of the scholars, you can combine the prayers. If you're traveling, and it's very likely that, for example, you are going to miss Asr prayer, then you can pray Asr with Dhuhr. And if you're traveling, let's say after Asr, or after Maghrib, and you're going to miss Isha, then you can combine Isha with Maghrib as well. But that's a ruling, inshallah, that you are going to study as you grow old. And some of the scholars said, no, you cannot combine the two, but what you can do, if you are traveling, is you can delay one of the prayer in its end time and pray the other in the beginning time, so it looks like you're praying 2 together. So let's say, for example, Dhuhr Salah, you pray Dhuhr at the end time, and then you pray Asr at the beginning time, so they come together as well. But Salah, we don't miss. And then Sadaqah, we give Sadaqah because it's a month where all of your rewards are multiplied, all of your actions, your deeds are multiplied. And then also number 6 is good character. And that's the hadith I mentioned yesterday. The fasting is not just about abstaining from food and drink. Fasting, don't think fasting is only eat and drink and that's it, your fast is done. So you abstain from food and drink, but you're committing haram. You're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing, you're fighting, you're arguing. You're selling haram. You're buying haram whilst you're fasting. This is not allowed. من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به فليس لله حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. Anybody does this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not in need of your fast. Today we're going to do a short Q&A. Okay, short Q&A. I'm going to answer some questions which are the main questions that people normally ask me. And then at the end, I'll give you 5 minutes as well. If you want to ask any questions, then I will answer your questions as well. So one of the most common questions that people normally ask, I'll skip the medical, I'll come back to the medical one in a few moments. Right, this one. Okay, so questions are related to food and drink. So what's the ruling if somebody accidentally ate food not knowing they were fasting? Ji? Yeah, so if you forget, it's a genuine forgetting. So not that, like somebody rang that sheikh, I think he was in Kuwait. He said, "Sheikh, what do I do? I fell, and whilst I fell, some chicken went into my mouth, and some 3 liters of water went into my mouth, and something else went into my mouth," and the sheikh didn't know how to answer the question. So and it does happen. It happened to me, I think the first or second year. I still remember. It happened the first or second year I was fasting. I was about 9, 10 years old. I was with my cousin, and we went to SKMA food store, my uncle's shop, and he wasn't fasting, but I was. We both bought a packet of crisps, and I was eating. Do you remember? I think they were called, is it thingies or tingies? What were they called? Those crisps, thingies. No, they were called. It's Hafizm Jirsadi knows man. They were called thingies. They were like what are those? Like Space Raiders. They don't not exist anymore. Space Raiders, Transformers. Yeah, so there was like a 10p packet of crisps. Yeah, these were similar, and I remember the flavor. It was a red flavor. It was a tomato flavor. And me and him from SKMA food store, we started eating. I got to my house. I was about 8, 9 years, and I remember, I'm fasting, and I ate most of the crisps. Yeah. But in that case, you don't finish off. If you remember, you stop eating. You don't say, I forgot, but let me just carry on eating. If you genuinely forgot, what you meant to do, stop eating, wash your mouth, and then you continue fasting. But your fast doesn't break, yes. Okay, we're going to come to that. Yeah? Okay, now that's fine. If you want to ask, then no problem, then you're going to figure. Right, brushing your teeth is allowed. I'm going to explain why. So, number one, the ruling is the things that break your fast are food. Is toothpaste food? Is it food? No. Number one, that's not. Number two is if it reaches your stomach, that substance, that food, if it reaches your stomach or that item, this is by the way, is medication, and it's like you mentioned, toothpaste. If anything reaches the stomach, it breaks the fast. If you're having medication that reaches the stomach, the fast breaks. If you're having medication that does not reach the stomach, your fast does not break. For example, ear drops, eye drops, scholars said this does not break the fast. Because the ear drops or the eye drops don't reach the stomach. However, painkillers, capsules, tablets, are they allowed? Why? We're going to come to that as well. Because you swallow. You swallow them. So let me answer your question about the toothpaste and the miswak, and I'm going to come back to your inhaler question. So your question, Talha, was toothpaste. So, toothpaste is allowed. You are allowed to brush your teeth because the ulama have said that number one, it's not food. Number two, it does not reach your stomach. And the third reason they have given is that if you are working in a place where there are other people and they would be harmed by the smell coming out of your mouth, then you can brush your teeth. Or better, use miswak, because miswak is more natural. So there's no harm in that. So as you know, when you are fasting, you get a foul smell that starts coming out of your mouth, and there's a reason for that as well. But if I go into that, we're going to be here all evening. But the ruling here is, to answer your question, are we allowed to brush our teeth? Yes, as long as it's toothpaste. But if you get tomato puree and start brushing your teeth, you're going to have a problem there. Because tomato puree is food. But if somebody decides to brush their teeth with mayonnaise or tomato ketchup, then we've got a problem. The toothpaste is fine, mouthwash is not, because you're not allowed to gargle. Yeah? Chewing gum not allowed, because it's flavor that goes to your stomach. No, it doesn't. Because you're not swallowing with chewing gum, it stays in your mouth for a long period of time, and you're chewing, and then the saliva goes down. Nobody swallows the toothpaste, and even if you brush your teeth, how long are you brushing? 1 or 2 minutes? And then you spit out the toothpaste, don't you? And then look at the two substances. What is the objective of the chewing gum, and what is the objective of toothpaste? Does chewing gum come under food? It more or less comes under food. What about toothpaste? We can say toothpaste comes under medicine, because we brush our teeth for medical reasons. Not that there's any medical benefits in that, because there isn't. It's a lie. Yeah, miswak is the better option. Toothpaste is like putting mint in your mouth. That's all you're doing. You're getting rid of the foul smell by making your mouth temporarily smell of mint. But the foul smell comes from your stomach. I'm going to come back to you, Muhammad, in 1 minute. Just like, now why is it when you wake up in the morning your breath smells? Anybody? You? No, it's got nothing to do with the food. Food does not smell your body unless you burp, and I love garlic and onions. No, there's nothing like that. Okay. When you wake up, what's the first thing that you have, like the meal? Breakfast. What does breakfast mean? You're breaking a fast. Because during the night you were fasting. If you were sleeping for 6 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, some of you, mashallah, 18 hours you sleep. Yeah, you sleep until you get hungry, and then you eat until you feel tired again. Yeah, subhanAllah. So, because you were fasting during the night, when you wake up you have the foul smell, which is very similar to when you are fasting during the day, and you have the foul smell as well. So chewing gum comes under food, not toothpaste. And mouthwash is best not to use, because with mouthwash you have to gargle, yeah, make that sound, don't you? And that's not. The ulama said it's makruh. You shouldn't do that. Muhammad, you had a question. Inhaler, Rayan, remind about inhaler, Jinn. Okay, so collecting the saliva does not break your fast. Yeah, some people do that. What they do, they'll be there for like 1 minute, and then they go, oh, that was nice. Let me get some ice in there as well. Yeah. So swallowing the saliva does not break the fast. Inhaler doesn't break the fast. That's according to the ulama. There's a difference of opinion, but the most correct opinion is the inhaler doesn't break the fast because it's not food, and the substance, which is not even a substance, is what comes out of the inhaler. It's like air, right? That reaches the tongue, the lungs, sorry. So here's the dispute. Some of the scholars said it reaches the stomach, but medically it's proven it doesn't. The inhaler reaches the lungs. And the mas'ala here is that if anything reaches the stomach, then the fast breaks. So the inhaler does not reach the stomach, it reaches the lungs, therefore you can't have the inhaler. However, some of the scholars said it is best that you take care of yourself, you don't exercise, you don't engage in actions that are going to get you ill, or that will make you go out of breath where you need an inhaler. So take it easy, but as a last resort, if you need to use inhaler, yes, of course you should, but it does not break the fast. Okay? Yes, Talha, you looking up some questions for me? Next question. If not, then I'll continue with my questions. Okay. Don't worry, I've got 15 years of questions here. This book is all Q&A. There are questions here I can't even mention. Let's carry on. Right, another one. And this is common. What if I eat intentionally? If you eat intentionally, you have to pay kafara, which is compensation, or it's a penalty. It's a penalty, sorry. Compensation is fidya. So I'll explain that in a few moments at the end. Remind me, boys, we were talking about this. Kafara, fidya, remind me at the end. If you eat deliberately, you need to pay. What do you need to pay? Kafara, which is a penalty. So if you're fasting and you come across small pieces of food, there's a bit of, meat that was stuck in your, between your teeth or something else, and you swallow it, there's no harm in that. As long as it was in your mouth and then you swallowed it, no problem. If you pick something up whilst you're fasting and put it in your mouth and then swallow it, that's where the problem is. Next question is the suhoor. Does anybody know what suhoor is? Azan. Yeah, so suhoor is when you close your fast before Fajr. Some people call it sehri and khutubala. Khutubala, after falasuni. Varabala. Yeah. Futbala. So some call it futbala and some call it, I know our church people call it, what do you say? Sargi, Sehri, Suhoor. Apna, Gujarati mein kya hai? Sehri. Okay, right. So, number one, if you miss Suhoor, do I need to fast? Yes. So, by not partaking the Suhoor does not exempt you from fasting. Yes. We're going to come to that. Trust me, it's all here. Okay? However, listen. It is recommended that you wake up for Suhoor, which is going to be about, you will wake up 10-15 minutes before Fajr Adhan, and you close your fast. And there are many benefits of that. Number one, the hadith that the Prophet Muhammad said that indeed Allah and His angels send blessings upon those who eat the Suhoor meal. So you benefit from the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sends upon you. So the meal helps providing strength for the day. When you have the Suhoor, you've had a meal, you won't get hungry. And when for Suhoor, you should have something light. You can have porridge, you can have cereal. Uncle has churi. You know what churi is? Yeah, you know, about 10 chapatis in the curry and make it small and eat that. Some people have egg and bread and toast, and they go for a large in a box. Anybody has large in a box? You know the mixed dough in a box? Huh? Musa, you do, don't you? Shish kebab and all that stuff, or large in a box? No, you don't have any of that stuff. Have something healthy, yogurt, fruits, this kind of stuff, yeah, and porridge, because then you need to go back to sleep as well, don't you? Yeah? Well, we're okay now because the time is going to be like, you'll be closing your fast, I think it's about 6 o'clock, so we're okay. Yeah, but in the summer, when you need to go back to sleep, when you close your fast 2:30, you can't go to sleep after you had mix in a box, can you? Gee. So that's number one. Number two, it gives you a chance to perform the Tahajjud prayer as well. So the Tahajjud prayer can be prayed up to about 5 minutes before Adhan of the Fajr. So there's a great opportunity for you to do that. Also, it gives you a chance to recite Quran without being distracted. And that's the best time. The Tahajjud time is the best time to pray Quran. Yes, Muhammad. Okay, let me do this and then I'll come back to your question. It also helps you to pray Fajr Salah, pray the Fajr Salah in the masjid at home, and it will also help you to abstain from hunger. Right, now, if you're eating and Adhan happens, you need to stop eating. Okay? Because even though the Adhan is slightly delayed, the fact is that if, for example, if it says on your timetable, these times on the prayer timetable are estimates. So if it says Adhan 5:30 is Adhan, by 5:25 you should have eaten. As a precaution, 5 minutes before Adhan or Fajr, your eating and drinking should be done. However, if you didn't know, or you woke up late and you're eating, once the Adhan starts, you hear the Imam say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, you need to stop. Yeah? You don't wait and carry on eating till the end of the Adhan. Once you hear the Adhan, you must stop eating. But that you can eat. What's in the mouth is fine. Yes, swallow that, because if you spit out, that comes under wasting food, and that's haram. Wala tusrif, israf, it is haram in Islam. So the most of that's in your mouth, you finish that off. But what is left, you will put it to one side. Don't waste it, but put it to one side. Rayan. Whatever's in your mouth, or the hand is the same thing, okay, it shouldn't be wasted. You can eat that. But make sure you don't have a big chicken leg in your hand and you're like, I need to finish this off. Yeah, there's a problem with that. But the ruling here is, as a precaution, as soon as the Adhan starts, you need to stop eating. Okay, when do I make the intention? The intention is made at the time of suhoor. And you need to make that intention every single day, that you are fasting in the month of Ramadan. Okay, another one, does smoking break the fast? Yes, smoking, shisha, there's another one called, is it called hookah? Yeah, shisha, hookah, vaping, okay? All of this stuff is, if you're doing it and you are fasting, it will break your fast, you need to pay kafara. Pan, you know pan? Yeah, a lot of Bengalis, Gujaratis, some Pakistanis have pan as well. That breaks the fast as well. You can swallow your saliva, no problem. Is it permissible for the cook to taste it? If somebody wants to taste the food for its sweetness or saltiness, then it can be tasted. Whether it's a man or a woman, some of the people make their own ruling up. If it's a woman and her husband is very fussy and he's going to get angry, then she can taste the food. No. The ruling is, if the man is cooking or the woman, and you'd like to taste the food, you had a question? Okay, you'd like to taste the food, you can, which is a small amount, but you don't swallow it. Small amount on your lip, that's fine, spit it out and wash your mouth. Not a big spoon and you say, yeah, I think there's enough sugar in there. Or enough salt in there, I think they got it right, that's fine now. Sorry. Yeah. No, because smoking in the first instance is haram according to scholars. Yeah, smoking is haram, Muslims should not be smoking. Again, there's a difference in opinion. Some of the scholars said it don't come under khamar, because what is khamar? Khamar is anything that intoxicates you, that makes you lose your senses, and this is where the dispute comes. That smoking doesn't. Tobacco, the other stuff does, but not cigarettes. However, it's proven that it can cause cancer. And then the other ulama have done qiyas and various other things as well. So majority, the jumhur of the ulama have said that smoking comes under haram. It's not even makruh, it's haram. Yes. I've answered that, but I'll repeat it. You can't gargle, but you can clean your mouth. You can wash your mouth, you can put water in your mouth, because you're going to be making wudu. No problem, but don't gargle. Yeah. Okay, so the question regarding the vomiting is, if you intentionally vomit, or you force yourself to vomit, then the fast breaks. If you unintentionally vomit, and it was a mouthful, and you took it back in, that breaks the fast. However, if you unintentionally vomited, it was just a small amount, it went back, you could have went back in, or then it came out, then that does not break the fast. Understood? So, I mean, I know nobody deliberately makes themselves vomit, so in your case, the question would be, if somebody did vomit, and it's a small amount, and it went back in, it won't break the fast. Because some people can't control it. But if it's a large amount and then you took it back in, it breaks the fast. And if it's a small amount or a large amount and you took it out, it does not break the fast. Okay? Some people ask regarding if we don't pray Taraweeh, are we allowed to fast? Taraweeh has got nothing to do with fasting. Taraweeh is sunnatul mu'akkada according to some of the scholars. It's a separate salah you pray in Ramadan, has no connection with fasting. Even now, I've heard grown-up elders ask me this question. Last night I missed my Taraweeh, do I need to fast tomorrow? You do. Taraweeh has no connection with fasting. Yeah. 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 But if you come and you pray Taraweeh, that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. The best action, one of the best actions you can do, one of the best actions you can do is pray Qiyamul Layl. Yeah? Yeah. Uncle said 20. And this year, Uncle said, I'm going to be waiting by the door with a hockey bat. You know, the hockey stick. Anybody walks out after 8 will be walking out bent. You're going to come in straight, walk out bent. Mama, what do you think? Our elders here as well. Mama is our elder in the community. Mama, what do you think? Yeah. Mama neutrally sits on the fence. Yeah. Okay, we need to finish within 2 minutes. Yeah. You see, the issue regarding Qiyamul Layl or Taraweeh is that 20 is from the Sunnah, and so is 8 or the 10 is from the Sunnah. However, what you shouldn't do is walk out after 8 or 10 for the sake of walking out because you can't be bothered to pray 20. Yeah. So, if in your family people pray 10 and you're coming and you're praying 10, there's no problem with that. However, my only issue is, if you want to pray 8 or 10, that's fine, no problem. You want to pray 20, pray 20. But go to a masjid which, if you want to pray 8, go to a masjid which prays 8 or 10. Don't go to a masjid which prays 20 and then you're standing in the first saf or the second and then you walk out after 8. Because now you're disturbing everybody. And the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad is that whoever prays the salah from the beginning till the end with the imam gets the reward of praying the entire night. In other words, whether you pray 8 or 10 or 20, but you pray from the beginning till the end with the imam, you get the thawab or the reward of praying the entire night. And most of you here, and by the way, this has got nothing to do with Hanafism or Shafi'ism, like the 4 schools of madhab, because all of the 4 schools of madhab, other than Imam Malik, rahimahullah, they used to pray 36 in Medina, 36 as well. The others would pray 20. But it's not a major issue. Pray, but pray properly. Yeah? And don't cause a nuisance and don't cause a disturbance to others. Because what happens, you pray in a masjid with 20, people pray 8, start making noise, go out, start talking loud, joking, laughing. You're distracting other people. We should be courteous. We should be courteous. Very quickly, oils don't break the fast. You can put oil, you can put cream. A henna doesn't break the fast. There was something regarding injections are okay. However, if the injection is to nourish your body, like some people, for example, have insulin, then that will break the fast. Giving blood, so like if you're going for a blood test, is fine, but cupping is not allowed. The majority of scholars say cupping is not allowed because it makes you feel weak and you shouldn't be doing that and it can be abstained. Yes. It doesn't break the fast, you lose the reward of fasting. Yeah. Okay, with the dentist, again, you need to confirm what are they going to do on the day. So if they're going to put all that, the equipment that they use, they normally put water and stuff like that, then you shouldn't go. Or if you're going to have a tooth removed, you shouldn't go. So the dentist you should avoid. Unless they're only going, they're going to open your mouth and do a little x-ray or check-up, that's fine, no problem. If they're going to wash your mouth, like they normally do, they have the water and then they have the hoover that sucks the water as well, then you shouldn't go. Cancel your appointments. If you have a tooth removed, it should be cancelled. Yes? Bleeding doesn't break your fast, no. If you swallow blood intentionally, it breaks the fast. Watching TV, dramas, playing Roblox, Fortnite, you shouldn't be doing that. It will spoil your fast. Sweat, tears doesn't break your fast. Nicotine patches will not break fasts. I'm just going over the women's section you don't need to know. You're not married yet, so you don't need to know that. Okay, regarding, and I'm going to finish off now. We're going to continue tomorrow as well, okay? Tomorrow we're meant to be talking about the action we're meant to be doing in Ramadan. So very quickly, if you intentionally break your fast, you need to pay a kafara, which is a penalty. So my boys should know what a kafara is. What's the penalty for one fast? How much? One fast. No, we covered it upstairs. £300. You are, yes, for breaking a fast deliberately, you need to feed. You need to feed 60 people a meal. And it comes to, I worked it out, I've got it here in 2024 is the rate I've got, but just give me one moment so I can give you the exact figures. Yeah, so listen. So kafara is when you intentionally eat or drink, or you have a relationship and intentionally vomit. For each broken fast, you must feed 60 people, poor people, per rate of £5 per person, which comes to £300. £300 for one fast that you break deliberately. If you can't afford that, then you need to fast for 2 consecutive months, not including Ramadan. So after Ramadan, you fast for 2 consecutive months. And if you break the cycle, you need to start again. Okay? Yes? Arabic months, the Islamic calendar. Fidya is obligatory to pay in circumstances where somebody is unable to fast. So somebody who's permanently ill, elderly people who cannot fast, or those in need of regular medication, otherwise their well-being could be affected. So what they do is they pay £5 per fast, which comes to £150 for the entire month. So fidya, which is compensation, somebody who cannot fast for the entire month will pay £150. Kafara, which is a penalty, which you need to pay for every fast that you break deliberately, is £300 per fast, which goes to the poor people, or you need to fast for 2 consecutive months. Anything left because your parents are waiting as well? We'll do some tomorrow evening, inshallah, and then we'll do a bit more tomorrow. No, iftar you have to do, and you have to open your fast as soon as possible. Even if it's date, even if it's water. If you were sleeping and you missed the time iftar, as soon as you wake up, you need to open your fast. Iftar is sunnah. It's sunnah to open your fast as soon as possible, even if you don't have a date. You don't have water. Yeah? Whatever you have in your hand, you open your fast. You want to fast tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah, you carry on fasting. Okay. Sam sanga jore. Take it now. 150, yeah. No, but that's not for you. You're a young, healthy man. You're fit as a horse. Why would you not want to fast? Forget the £150. No. £150 is for those people who are old and weak and kamzor. They got a new idea, Nadeem. Yeah. And Nadeem, they're looking for shortcuts. He goes, so if I don't fast, I can pay £150. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. Yeah. No, you cancel dentist appointment. If it's only they're going to open your mouth and they're going to check, no problem. But if they're going to put instruments in your mouth and they're going to put the water and the water sucker, then you should, 47, you're very young, brother Umar, don't worry about it. Then avoid the appointment. But generally, you shouldn't be going dentist in Ramadan. Best not to. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakallah khair. Those of you who've been watching 65 of you, Barakallahu feek. Can you lie to a non-believer? Lying is bad. Whether it's to a non-believer or a believer, you shouldn't lie. Women should pray as many rakats as possible. Whatever is needed, you should pray. For example, okay, no problem. Whether you're praying 8 to 10, is swimming allowed while fasting? No. Fasting? When do we begin fasting? I believe it's the 18th of February. You shouldn't be swimming whilst you are fasting. It's very likely that water would go to your mouth, and it's not that it's a mandatory action. It's not mandatory on you, so delay the swimming till after Isha Salah. Yeah? Sorry if I missed your question. Yes, Atiyu Allah, Atiyu Rasul. Yes. Muhammad, do me a favor. I think I will need my bag. My bag. Don't think there's anything else yet. Hello. Okay, make sure you try to ask those one. Is the president here? Or he left? Any more questions we find? Barakallahu feek, lady.